time that they have seen $1 bills in a long time. So
oh, they still make these?
They still make these? Get out of here. What are these things?
Still, how cool would it be to have your signature on U.S. money?
I'll take anybody's signature if I have the money. Coming up, the Trump payback for Senator Marco Rubio.
After mercilessly teasing Rubio during the campaign about this scene where he was taking swigs of water from a bottle during a speech, well, the tables have now turned for President Trump.
Why two hands? And it's back, the movie that changed the game. But will you be able to sit through all 200 minutes of Titanic in the theater again? It was long. But first, here's a look at today's forecast.
World News Now weather, brought to you by Active Style.
The models do to practice.
And as the president, by the way, was recapping his journey at the White House yesterday, he got a little cotton mouth and threatened to derail his report.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
There's something to be said about staying thirsty, but this makes it seem like the president has been through a desert in the last 2 weeks. In fact, it was actually Southeast Asia and the president here at the White House touting his trip and pausing for a sip and couldn't find a bottle where it normally is located.
They don't have water. That's okay.
Reporters were forced to finally give him an assist before the sweet relief. For Senator Marco Rubio, it was payback. In 2013, Rubio suffered his own water bottle moment, which got candidate Donald Trump's attention, saying Rubio should have used a glass. And last year, the candidate didn't let anyone forget.
When they put Marco on to refute President Obama's speech, do you remember that catastrophe? It's Rubio.
It was the moment Rubio was waiting for, tweeting, "Similar but needs work on his form. Has to be done in one single motion and eyes should never leave the camera, but not bad for his first time." Luckily for the president, he did it twice, enough for people to criticize his technique.
I'm sorry. What a natural, graceful, effortless way to open a bottle of water. Grasp it with both hands like a baby, take a sip.
Oh, and late night comics had a field day.
I don't always drink water, but when I do, I look super weird.
The subject is bringing jobs back to America. He's drinking a bottle of water from Fiji. It's Fiji water.
Okay, all right, they got that? Okay, they got this.
Others wondered why a man with his own line of water would drink Fiji, while another Twitter user pointed out that some presidents drink water right from the source. Oh, some shade there.
This will give you a nice little workout.
How do you drink from the Fiji water?
Oh, you're going the glass method.
Yes, but the pinky has to be up.
Is that the deal? I think the key is the momentum. You got to get the upswing. Like 1, 2, and...
Very nicely done. The CEO for the Fiji company, by the way, reacted, and he's like, oh, everybody likes drinking from the source, this source.
Yeah, sure. Delightful. All right, when we come back, the growing outrage over the newest, sexiest man alive. I bet he drinks lots of water.
Plus, the sexiest newsman alive, one of them is not back there. The skinny is next. Okay, apparently it is getting worse. This morning, Blakegate.
Blakegate.
It's a thing. Is widening with more backlash from People Magazine's newest, sexiest man alive. You hear him there, Mr. Blake Shelton.
Many are simply refusing to believe that no other man alive is sexier than the country singer. Check out this assessment. Blake Shelton is at best the sexiest divorced dad at this barbecue.
Oh, true. Yeah. That's probably true. And more write-ins. This tweet showing us 4 men that are sexier than Blake Shelton. Spoiler alert, those are all Jason Momoa.
He is rather beautiful to look at.
But there were also some words of encouragement, like Hugh Jackman tweeting, "Blake, take it from me, humble only gets you so far. Milk the sexy status for all it's worth. The rain goes all too quickly. Just ask Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds knows that as well. There are a lot of... Go ahead.
I was going to say, Blake's also getting a lot of attention because he seems to have a favorite pose, which he used in the cover shot.
Oh, and inside. The hand thing.
And pretty much every time he takes a photograph.
Is there an itch behind his head?
That's the question. Is there something he's hiding? Like, what's going on with the whole behind the head pose? It seems to be his move.
Yeah. So The Rock's signature move is to pretend as if he's adjusting his cufflinks. That's what
really?
he's giving
I like
man
that
an
move,
excuse
but
in
that
every
doesn't
photo
work
to do.
For me.
No, not at all.
usually have
But
cufflinks.
Blake's is more of like...
Maybe he really likes his
swimsuit.
armpit. Maybe he thinks that's his,
like,
that's his big
I
feature.
did not re-up my deodorant today.
All right. Well, we have to move on, though, because that's not the only list causing controversy
There's
this
some
morning.
controversy.
Yeah. People also has a preview list of its sexiest newsmen alive, and we are outraged.
Outrage. The list is kind of weak. So before the list hits newsstands, should we say we're offering our own nominations from here at ABC News?
Absolutely.
Unbiased nominations, starting with the sexiest man at 6:30 p.m. Look at that hair. World News Tonight, David Muir. Always looking good in the field and on the red carpet.
Don't forget, by the way, our own Magic Michael Strahan.
Oh, is it laundry day?
Showing off his moves in Magic Mike and his abs. Come
I
on.
know where I'm doing my laundry.
How does that not top the list?
And if you're into the athletic type, how about our Miami bureau correspondent, Victor Akendo?
Oh, hey, Victor.
Yeah, he's ready for that triathlon.
He's even got a ribbon. Give the man a prize, will ya?
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah.
can't ever forget about our foreign correspondent, James Longman. He is just an Instagram treasure trove. People, this is just one example of many
The
of why
keywords
James
being-
Longman should definitely
The
top
keywords
this
being
list.
treasure trove.
But if you really want sexy, how about our very own Blake Shelton of Newsmen, Candace Gibson. You didn't know that one was coming.
I thought I'd actually put that photo out.
The wig and the wings really had a nice touch.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it, can you?
Are you wearing a diaper in that photo?
It is a cloth diaper. It was like 30 degrees out at the time.
Come on, people.
Oh,
People
yes.
Magazine.
Come
this
on.
is gold.
Yeah. All right. Maybe next year. Next to the other big headline this morning for fans of Titanic.
So the movie's marking its 20th anniversary by re-releasing a fully remastered version across the country starting December 1st.
And it'll be shown at 87 AMC theaters with 20 of those showings in 3D. In fact, director James Cameron says the new technology is even beyond typical 3D and that, quote, Titanic has never looked better.
So now we can really enjoy watching Rose be selfish and hog that piece of driftwood all to herself. Sorry, Jack, I'll never let go till your hand gets too cold.
And then you're just, like, annoying me. Bye, Jack. Or the classic scene where she wants to be drawn up like a French girl.
Oh, yeah, that was a perfect
yeah.
depiction
Yeah,
of that one. Good
that's-
job, Jack.
Uh-huh.
Way
No
to go.
wonder she ditched him.
All right, finally, if you're looking for a fabulous vacation home for next summer, now is your chance.
Yeah, so the owners of the Chilmark House at Martha's Vineyard, where President Obama and his family stayed back in 2013, have dropped the price. It is down to just $18 million.
Ooh, this
Not bad.
sprawling 7,000-foot modern home, 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, a gym, half basketball court, an infinity pool, sits on nearly 10 acres, panoramic views of the Atlantic Ocean.
The house has been for sale for 2 years, originally listed at $22 million. Now it's priced to move, so act fast.
All right, I've got $100. Anyone else?
100. I got like $2. Like for them, how amazing.
A lot more turkey will be needed on the table.
And a lot of tissue for all the tears they're going to be shedding there together.
Thanks so much for watching.
ABC News, America's #1 news source. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News.
You guys ready? Check it out. There's the number. $554,437.
Money that'll be used to buy life-changing technology, all to help kids and adults with disabilities served by Allied Services.
Can't help but smile.
Our viewers are the most generous people.
Today,
WNEP's Ryan's Run
has raised
more than $2.6 million.
And we couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming to the Sherman Theater on Main Street, Stroudsburg, Hollywood Undead with special guest The Butcher Babies, Tuesday, November 21st. Railroad Earth's annual Horn O'Plenty is back November 24th and 25th. See the Rocks of Sherman Tuesday, November 28th. Don't miss the phenomenal Pink Floyd Laser Spectacular Friday, December 1st. Rock and roll all night with Alive 75, the Ultimate Kiss Tribute, Saturday, December 2nd. Tickets on sale at ShermanTheater.com, Ticketfly.com, and the Sherman Theater box office, 570-420-2808.
WNEP, Pepsi, and PDQ's Feed a Friend campaign is underway and needs your help. Hi folks, Joe Snedeker here at a food pantry just like one near you, and as you can see, many of your kind donations are here, but there's still more room for many non-perishable items. Keep them coming, and remember, you can make monetary donations too. Your generosity will help provide much needed food for less fortunate families in your area for the holiday season and beyond. Working together, we can help feed our friends.
In a fire, every second counts. Have a plan to escape. First, make sure your home has smoke alarms. Draw a map of your home. Show all doors and windows. Find 2 ways out of each room. All windows and doors should open easily so you can use them to get outside. Pick a place outside where everyone will meet. Tell everyone in your home about your escape plan and remember to practice a fire drill. Operation Save a Life is sponsored by Kidde and the Home Depot.
The Super 16 Sports Final, Friday nights on Newswatch 16 at 11.
Good morning, I'm Candace Gibson.
And I'm Diane Macedo. Here are some of the top headlines we're following this morning on World News Now. Police in Tampa say they have a suspect as they release new video in the investigation of 4 murders. The alleged serial killer spotted near the first crime scene more than a month ago, now caught on camera again. We have full details straight ahead.
President Trump heads to Capitol Hill today to deliver remarks on tax reform, with House Republicans poised to pass his sweeping cuts. But the bill faces an uncertain future in the Senate. And Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson is a no, and several others are undecided.
And tonight we find out this year's most valuable players in Major League Baseball. So, will the American League do the right thing and all rise to honor Yankees Rookie of the Year, Aaron Judge?
And a painting of Jesus by Leonardo da Vinci has sold for a record $450 million. That's more than 4 times as much as its expected price tag. The buyer is still anonymous. Those are some of our top stories on this Thursday. It's November 16th.
From ABC News, this is World News Now.
I wasn't editorializing at all with the Aaron Judge thing. It's just generally agreed the right thing to do.
He was the only person mentioned. No Altuve, no Bellinger.
What?
You know, not editorializing or anything at all like that.
We will get further into that a little bit later.
They all had great seasons. Everybody deserves it.
They did indeed.
Yeah.
But we're going to start things off on a more serious note with that manhunt in Tampa for a suspected serial killer.
Police say the person in this video you see here is the suspect. They believe it's the same guy who was spotted last month at the scene of the murder that started the entire case. ABC's Victor Oquendo is in Tampa.
This is the new video Tampa police want you to watch closely, showing a person walking moments before the latest victim of an apparent serial killer was gunned down early Tuesday. Police believe it's the same person spotted near the scene of the first murder and are now confirming this is their suspect.
Same manner of walking, same manner of dress with a hood up.
The FBI seen here going door to door after 60-year-old Ronald Felton was murdered. The 4th victim shot to death in the last month, all within a half mile, all walking alone in the dark.
Yeah, I don't sleep at night.
For the people who live in this neighborhood, no reprieve from fear.
We thought it was over, that we had probably scared the person out of the neighborhood because the police presence is so great now, and then this happens.
Police have gotten thousands of tips, and they're hoping by increasing the reward to $91,000, someone with concrete information will come forward. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Tampa.
Some tense moments there in Tampa, and tense moments this week in Northern California, and school staffers there are being praised for a life-saving decision. They made it during this week's shooting rampage. They ordered their young students inside and locked the doors just seconds before the gunman opened fire. Police say the school's custodian distracted the shooter who had rammed his truck into the building.
It is monumental that school went on lockdown. I really truly believe that we would have had a horrific bloodbath in that school if that school hadn't taken the action when they did.
Now, police did raise the death toll to 5, saying the first victim was the gunman's wife. Her body was found under the floor of their home. It's believed she was killed Monday night.
The Army's top general has revealed some stunning news about crimes committed by soldiers. General Mark Milley estimates up to 20% of criminal acts in the Army aren't reported to civilian authorities. The shooter in the Texas church massacre was able to buy weapons because the Air Force didn't report his violent past. General Milley said it's not just an Air Force problem. And thousands came together to remember 8 members of the same family who were killed in that Sutherland Springs church shooting. A public memorial was held yesterday for the Holcombs. The crowd was so large, hundreds of people had to be turned away. 3 generations in that family died in the massacre.
Just unbelievable there. Well, 2 additional women have now come forward to accuse Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore of sexual assault. One woman told the Washington Post that Moore gave her an unwanted yet forceful kiss when she was a high school senior in the late 70s. Another woman said Moore groped her in 1991 as she was leaving his law office. Now, with the Senate race just a month away, Moore is not backing down. His attorney tried to discredit the accuser who told her story on camera, questioning Beverly Young Nelson's claim that Roy had signed her yearbook.
Look at the 1977 After Merry Christmas. Look at those 2 sevens. And then look below at the 77. And I want to ask you, do you think it was written by the same person?
I'm here today with a very
Nelson's attorney, Gloria Allred, said she's contacted the Senate Judiciary Committee. She wants her client and Moore to testify about the allegations under oath.
And a new case of sexual misconduct in Congress has surfaced after Congresswoman Jackie Speier revealed there were allegations against 2 of her colleagues. Speier said a congressional staffer just told her that a congressman rubbed up against her and stuck his tongue in her ear. ABC's Mary Bruce has more on the call for change.
Members of Congress are on a mission to clean their own house, taking on sexual harassment after that bombshell allegation.
There are 2 members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, right now, who have been subject to review or not have been subject to review, but have engaged in sexual harassment.
This is what allegedly happened to one staffer dropping off research at a member's home.
The young staffer is a young woman, went there and was greeted with a member in a towel. It was a male, who then invited her in. At that point, he decided to expose himself. She left, and then she quit her job.
Some lawmakers want names.
Well, I think it's good to get this stuff out, name them, just get it out, lay it out.
Currently, victims go through 30 days of mandatory counseling, sign a non-disclosure agreement, undergo 30 days of mediation, and a month-long cooling-off period before filing any legal claim. Over the past 20 years, Congress has settled 260 cases related to workplace violations, including harassment, costing American taxpayers more than $16 million.
Is opaque, it is not transparent, and it's really set up to protect the perpetrators.
But a new bill would make counseling and mediation optional, allow anonymous complaints, and eliminate those non-disclosure agreements. Now, this new bill aims to beef up transparency and accountability. If a lawmaker settles a claim, they would be named publicly, and they would have to pay that settlement out of their own pocket. Mary Bruce, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Mary, thank you. And Hillary Clinton is speaking out for the first time about the possible appointment of a special counsel to investigate her ties to a uranium deal. Clinton says such an investigation would be, quote, a disastrous step into politicizing the Justice Department. And she claims it would be an abuse of power that would move the U.S. away from being a nation of laws and toward a nation of men with political agendas. Attorney General Jeff Sessions was non-committal about appointing a special counsel in his recent congressional testimony.
We are tracking a powerful storm system that's pounding the West Coast right now, then moving across the country, hitting the East Coast by this Saturday, in fact. And it comes just as millions of Americans are getting ready to take off for the Thanksgiving holiday. ABC's Rob Marciano with the details.
Pretty active weather pattern setting up coast to coast. We'll start with the west, where a powerful system is sliding in from Vancouver to Seattle down to San Francisco. Heavier rain and high winds there, and an atmospheric river setting up for Northern California. We're really concerned about flash flooding there across the wildfire burn areas of wine country, maybe some mudslides. Pushes inland tomorrow, 1 to 3 feet of snow at the highest elevations, and then by Friday and through Minneapolis, Chicago Friday night, some heavy rain and some wind there, getting into Cincinnati, D.C., New York, eventually Saturday and Sunday, snow on the backside of this, and by the time the weekend is done, the entire eastern half of this country is going to get a piece of this storm. Rob Marciano, ABC News, New York.
It's so nice of
Thanks.
Seattle to share with us.
Thanks for the great news,
That's
Rob.
Great. Oh.
Glad we checked in with you. Well, a man who spent more than 40 years behind bars is now experiencing his first taste of freedom since he was 19.
65-year-old Wilbert Jones walked out of that Louisiana prison yesterday. I would have ran. Jones was convicted of kidnapping and rape in 1974. Last month, though, a judge ruled prosecutors withheld evidence that could have implicated someone else. Jones says he's looking forward to the future.
By the time they left, we spend together and just, be happy and just enjoy life.
Jones's case isn't over. Prosecutors are appealing the ruling that overturned the conviction. He's free for now on $2,000 bond. Louisiana Supreme Court will decide whether he remains free.
His family said he was looking forward to some homemade gumbo.
Gumbo.
Yep. All right, looking for a new place to call home? How about a spot called Ross 128b?
Okay. Well, that's what scientists are calling a planet they've just discovered, which is about the size of Earth. They also say Ross 12b may be able to support life, but it's not exactly close by.
Oh, where is it? Like maybe near the moon?
It's 11 light years away, which is about 700,000 times as far away as the sun. Pretty far.
But that will change. Scientists say it could be Earth's closest neighbor in about 79,000 years.
Oh. Okay, so we are not going to be moving to Ross 128b.
Never know. The way Elon Musk is going, with all this
We'll
technology.
have a Hyperloop to take us there. It'll be fine.
Yep.
Coming up, the new anti-glam face of young stardom. Meet Alessia on Interstate 55 in St. Louis on Monday after a merging car collided with a big rig and got stuck on the truck's front grille. The semi pushed that smoking car several hundred yards and eventually onto an exit ramp where the two separated. The truck driver claims that at first he didn't realize the car was there, as in didn't realize it was pinned to the grill. Neither driver was injured or ticketed.
Okay. And we're also getting a look inside of a Georgia school bus moments after a fire. This happened in Douglas County, just outside Atlanta. You can see it there. The driver scrambled to get the students off the bus after it was hit by a pickup truck. Now, the truck caught fire and the flames spread to that bus. The driver and the students are all physically okay.
Glad to hear that.
Quick thinking.
All right, turning now to those 3 UCLA basketball players accused of shoplifting in China.
Yeah, the 3 freshmen, including the brother of Lakers rookie Lonzo Ball, are back in Los Angeles, where each made a special thank you to President Trump for his part in getting them back home. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis.
The 3 UCLA basketball players at the heart of an international shoplifting scandal, giving President Trump what he asked for, a thank you.
To President Trump and the United States government, thank you for taking the time to intervene on our behalf.
Thank you to the United States government and President Trump for your efforts to bring us home.
I would also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
The thank yous come after President Trump tweeted, "Do you think the 3 UCLA basketball players will say thank you, President Trump? They were headed for 10 years in jail."
I know that this goes beyond me letting my school down, but I let the entire country down.
LiAngelo Ball, Jalen Hill, and Cody Riley were arrested in China during the president's Asia trip after stealing from 3 different stores. The president asked the leader of China for help, and on Tuesday, they returned to American soil. All 3 apologized.
I've learned my lesson from this big mistake, and I'm 110% sure that I'll not make a bad decision like this one again.
The UCLA basketball coach described the 3 players as good young men before announcing they are suspended indefinitely. Lindsay Davis, ABC News, New York.
And the coach says while that suspension is in place, they won't practice with the team, they won't travel with the team, they can't even work out with the team.
Okay. Good move on UCLA for their actions.
All right, coming up, the young singer who's challenging the notion of what it means to be glamorous. Welcome back to an episode of This Happened, where we are featuring fast food and Candace.
It is National Fast Food Day.
Just got a new job.
So we got, exactly. So I promised you 30 minutes or less. We
did.
got all this pizza from Domino's for this segment, and then I just went back there to get them. They're mostly all gone.
Yeah.
What are you people, savages around here? So we have a fast food version of this happen, starting with interesting burglar, hamburglar, you might say. First of all, she gets the cashier at this
Oh, she's getting herself
McDonald's
a soda.
in
She's thirsty.
Maryland, and then she's thirsty. Pours herself a drink, or tries to, but you know it's kind of tough to pour the drink.
Maybe
when
she's
you're
already
there.
had too much
So
to
why
drink.
not just go right in? Just work. Get. Go on, work your back into it. Come on. Yes. She squeezed in.
I don't think we're supposed to be rooting for her.
Well, she made her way out. Then she covered her face.
Oh, good thinking.
She forgot about that tattoo on the back end that might be identifying. Police are on the lookout for a $500 reward for her, the Hamburglar in Columbia, Maryland.
All right, so 'tis the season. It's the holidays and all. One of my favorite things to collect is Christmas ornaments.
Mm-hmm.
KFC has a little something to help me out this year. They've come up with 5 decorative Christmas ornaments to hang on your tree, including a drumstick, fries, you saw the bucket of fried chicken, and the man himself, Colonel Sanders. You can hang him on the tree as well.
Oh, really?
Yep. They come in what the company calls this beautiful black presentation box.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. They are not for purchase. You have to win them on the KFC Facebook page.
Forget about it. Nothing says Merry Christmas.
There you go.
KFC. So in Hopkinton, Massachusetts.
Easy for you to
I
say.
know. In Hopkinton, Massachusetts. Here's a fake license plate that was posted by the police department there on their Facebook page.
They tried hard for that one, huh?
They captioned it A, don't, and B, but if you do, make sure not to use cardboard from a pizza box and magic markers.
Oh.
That's really just how I was going to remind you.
Recycling. Are you planning your new license plate?
License plate.
Okay.
If I could spell my name.
Well, a couple in California found a new way to recycle. Though this morning on World News Now, the list of accusers against Roy Moore grows.
Several more women have come forward with allegations of sexual misconduct against the embattled Republican Senate candidate. He remains defiant, despite the growing pressure from within his party for him to step aside.
And Tampa police are narrowing in on a suspected serial killer after new surveillance video emerges just before the latest murder. We have the latest on the manhunt.
And wait until 8th, the growing movement for parents to hold off on giving their kids smartphones until the 8th grade. But with all the peer pressure, is it really practical?
And the breaking news from here in New York, a painting by Leonardo da Vinci was just sold at auction. It was supposed to go for $100 million, but the final price wasn't even close. It's Thursday, November 16th.
From ABC News, this is World News Now.
You know, that painting depicted Jesus,
Uh-huh.
and I think a lot of people were thinking, holy, when they saw the price tag.
Holy crikey, indeed. Apparently there was like some loud gasps that were heard in the room right there in New York City as that Leonardo da Vinci painting went for this unbelievable price.
That's right. So it was purchased for more than $450 million.
No, I didn't hear that right.
$450 million.
And the piece is sold.
So the piece is called Salvator Mundi, which is Latin for Savior of the World. And now we can also call it the most expensive painting ever sold in the world.
I know we keep waiting for the second coming of Christ, but this painting is not going to give them that.
No? I think
that's
the buyer
insane.
might disagree.
All right, so bidding for the 26-inch tall painting opened at $75 million, skyrocketed within the minutes there. It lasted 19 minutes. The large auction crowd was stunned when an anonymous person placed a final bid over the phone.
The last one bid is directly from like 370 million directly to the 400 million.
I see.
Yeah, so that's, you can see like they don't want to waste time.
Yeah, I guess not. So what do you get for $450 million? A painting that might not actually be a Da Vinci.
What?
For centuries, it was believed a student of his painted it back in 1490. But Christie's, where the painting was sold, says most scholars now agree it was in fact done by Leo. By the way, the painting was sold in 1958 for just $60.
That was a good investment.
Yes, way back
Though I
then.
wonder, Christie's is the one saying scholars say this was Da Vinci. Christie's, I presume, makes a cut off this
Oh my God.
$450 million
Pretty good commission
sale?
there from Christie's.
All right.
Yep.
Next step, I'll be applying for a job at Christie's. All right, we're going to turn now to Alabama, where new accusers are coming forward against Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore.
One woman told the Washington Post she went on a date with Moore when she was a senior in high school and said he gave her an unwanted, forceful kiss. A woman who worked at the mall in 1977 said she complained to her manager about Moore asking her out. Another woman said Moore groped her in the early 90s.
Earlier, Moore's attorney disputed the tearful account of another woman accusing him of sexual assault and suggested that the Roy Moore signature in her yearbook was forged. As Republicans in Washington abandon Moore, President Trump has been uncharacteristically silent. ABC's Tom Yamas has the latest.
President Trump refusing to turn his back on Roy Moore. Our Cecilia Vega at the White House pressing him on whether Moore should drop out.
Should Roy Moore resign, Mr. President? Do you believe his accusers?
Silence from the president, but his daughter Ivanka is speaking out, telling the Associated Press there's a special place in hell for people who prey on children. I've yet to see a valid explanation, and I have no reason to doubt the victims' accounts. One of those accounts from Beverly Young Nelson, who says Moore sexually assaulted her when she was 16. She said he told her nobody would believe her story.
He said, "You're just a child." And he said, "I am the district attorney of Etowah County."
Nelson says that's the last contact she had with Roy Moore. Moore has said he never met her and does not know her. But Moore's lawyer fighting back, saying Moore was one of the judges in Nelson's divorce case in 1999.
There was contact. Judge Moore signed an order in that case.
The lawyer also wants a handwriting expert to evaluate the inscription Nelson says Moore wrote in her high school yearbook. "To a sweeter, more beautiful girl, I could not say Merry Christmas." Signed, Love Roy Moore, DA.
Look at the 1977 after Merry Christmas. Look at those two sevens. And then look below at the 77. And I want to ask you, do you think it was written by the same person?
Moore denies any inappropriate sexual conduct with teenage girls, but not that he dated teenagers when he was in his 30s.
Do you remember dating girls that young at that time?
Not generally, no. If I did, I'm not going to dispute anything, but I don't remember anything like that.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who calls Moore unfit for the Senate, is urging a write-in candidate to step forward.
The Alabamian who would, fit that standard would be the Attorney General, who's totally well-known and extremely popular in Alabama.
Moore tweeting the quote, "Washington elite will do whatever it takes to stop him."
They've spent over $30 million to try to take me out. They've done everything they could. And now they're together to try to keep me from going to Washington.
In Moore's hometown of Gadsden, Alabama, Republicans I spoke with are torn.
I find it strange that after 40 years somebody comes forward. I mean, why would you wait 40 years if that really did happen?
If I'm Roy Moore, I get out of this race. And my advice to Roy Moore, get out of the race.
Now, the lawyer for Beverly Young Nelson, Gloria Allred, has gotten back to us. She says she sent an email to the Senate Judiciary Committee requesting a hearing and that her client will testify under oath and Roy Moore should also testify under oath. If that happens, she will release the yearbook so independent experts can look at that handwriting. We also want to mention there is a new accuser, someone who says she went to Roy Moore looking for legal help in the 90s. She says Moore made her feel very uncomfortable, complimenting her looks, but at the end of the meeting, he grabbed her by the backside. Roy Moore has denied all accusations of sexual misconduct. Tom Yamas, ABC News, Hoover, Alabama.
And Tom, Politico reporting this morning that the Republican Party is looking to take some desperate measures and possibly have the current senator resign abruptly. In the meantime, President Trump is heading to Capitol Hill today to boost momentum for the tax reform bill that could become his first legislative victory. The president will meet with House Republicans who are expected to approve the bill, but the Senate version is facing an uphill battle. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin is already a no, saying the measure benefits big corporations over small businesses, and Susan Collins of Maine is among the undecided, concerned the move to repeal the Obamacare mandate could leave millions more uninsured. A handful of Democrats took the first step in a long-shot effort to impeach President Trump, saying he violated the Constitution. They accused the president of obstruction of justice stemming from the Russia investigation. Even Democratic leaders opposed this effort, saying it would energize the president's base.
Police in Tampa say they have new evidence indicating a serial killer is on the loose. Police have now labeled this person a suspect in 4 murders after this new video taken before the latest murder appears to show the same person spotted near the scene of the first murder last month. The police chief pointed out the person's casual manner. The reward for information is now up to $91,000. And TMZ is reporting that convicted mass murderer and former cult leader Charles Manson is in a California hospital. Sources tell the website that he's been battling serious health issues and that his condition has been deteriorating. The 83-year-old former cult leader has been in prison since 1971 for masterminding the murders of 7 people.
A Southwest Airlines pilot is charged with trying to carry a loaded gun onto a flight. 51-year-old was stopped just before getting on the plane. It was a flight from St. Louis to Las Vegas. Authorities say the 9mm gun was in the carry-on bag. Southwest hasn't said whether the pilot was part of a crew or a passenger.
Well, Pope Francis found himself with something a little more sporty than the Pope Mobile in the Vatican driveway.
Check out the Lamborghini.
Oh, yeah.
The Italian automaker gave the pontiff a special edition of the Huracan. Base price, about $200,000.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
So the Pope gave the car a blessing, as you do, and then put it up for auction.
What? You didn't go for a ride?
Negative. No test drive. Proceeds will go toward rebuilding Christian communities in Iraq.
Oh, okay. Well, not bad.
Coming up, the world's oldest prenup. So old that it actually predates paper.
But first, the growing number of men who are saying, "Me too." Terry Crews is stepping up, saying he was sexually assaulted by a Hollywood executive. You're watching World News Now.
Yo, if you don't stop touching girls, I'm gonna come out and you up, bro.
So that is Drake. This video just coming in, stopping a club performance in the middle of a song. He pointed at a guy in the audience and told him, "Stop touching girls." Drake also said if the guy didn't stop, he would come into the crowd and beat him up, as you heard him say. Apparently, he didn't have to.
No, the guy stopped.
He immediately stopped. He's like, "Come on, just continue on the hotline bling." Now, though, to a stunning new allegation of sexual misconduct out of Hollywood.
Terry Crews, known for his comedic and macho roles, is coming forward naming the powerful Hollywood agent he says groped him in the middle of a party right in front of his wife. Crews sat down exclusively with ABC's Michael Strahan.
Terry Crews, the former NFL linebacker turned actor, adding his voice to the tidal wave of people sharing their claims of sexual assault in Hollywood. In February of 2016, Crews says he and the Hollywood super agent Adam Venit were at the same party. Venit has represented some of Hollywood's biggest names: Liam Hemsworth, Emma Stone, Sylvester Stallone, Eddie Murphy, and Adam Sandler. But instead of a professional meet and greet, Crews claims Venit leered at him from across the room.
I reached my hand out, and he takes his right hand and under mine and immediately squeezes, grabs my genitals, and I jump back like, hey, whoa. And he jumps back, and he still does this tongue stuff, and he's making weird noises, and then he comes back again and grabs me again. And I slap his hand away, push him back more forcefully, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
According to Crews, the alleged groping happened in front of his wife, Rebecca King Crews. She confirmed her husband's account to ABC News.
So she's witnessing the entire thing. She's witnessing the whole thing. And we're just not, I can't even begin to describe to you how bizarre this is.
Crews says his wife's calming influence prevented the incident from escalating.
My wife kept holding my hand. She kept grabbing my arm and said, "I'm proud of you." Mike, I'm telling you, man, I know how close I came to losing it all. Just when you get emasculated like that.
Do you think it was a way of him maybe exercising power?
It was. First of all, this whole thing, from Weinstein to all what's happening in Hollywood, is about an abuse of power, an abuse of the position you have. And what happens is they have fooled everyone into thinking it was part of the job.
While he didn't go public with the alleged incident, Crews insists he sounded the alarm immediately.
I get a call from my agent saying that Venit's gonna call you. I get a call, here it's him on the line. I'm sorry, I was drunk, I wasn't myself that night. And I said, "Hey man, you got to understand the depth of what you did in front of my wife. I said, man, you don't even know how close you got to really being hurt. And I said, you need some help. I said, you need to go get help. And he was like, yeah, okay.
Was it sincere? Did you feel like it was sincere?
No. It's like when people are sorry because they got caught.
Since going public, Cruz filed a police report. Law enforcement sources confirmed to ABC station KABC that Venant was named as Cruz's alleged harasser on the report.
I have been victimized, but I have made the choice to not be a victim.
Terry Crews said he ended his relationship with the agency last week. William Morris Endeavor tells ABC News that Venant has been suspended following the internal investigation into the matter. Venant himself declined to comment. Crews hopes that going public will force Hollywood to change.
Hollywood doesn't even get the morals to its own movies. That's what's so crazy.
This Hollywood strongman, stronger than ever.
You cannot violate any boundaries anymore. Look, life has no limits, but it should have plenty boundaries.
I'm Michael Strahan in New York.
Well, it seems like increasingly those boundaries are becoming defined, at least.
Or
in the midst of all this.
at least we're learning more about it, indeed. All right, coming up in our next half hour, the brain disease plaguing former football players. It has been found for the first time in someone alive, what it means for future treatments.
But first, the smartphone debate. When should kids get their first phone? That's next. Okay, here's the situation. My parents went away on a week's vacation. DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince.
Poet, Nobel laureates.
That's true. But they're talking about parents not understanding, of course. And one of the big issues for parents and kids today is when should the kids get their own smartphone?
That is a good question. And a campaign is now growing among parents to wait until the 8th grade. Here's ABC's Paula Ferris.
The pressure is on for preteens to have smartphones.
Do you know any kids that don't have smartphones?
No. And the pressure is also on for their parents.
Is there one word that you can give me to describe the thought of buying your kid a smartphone?
Dread, regret, frightening, and it is so addictive.
It was this pressure that led Austin mom Brooke Shannon to start Wait Until 8th, where parents sign a pledge not to get their child a smartphone before 8th grade.
I think before the Wait Till 8th pledge, parents didn't really feel like they had a choice. They could either give their kid a phone because everyone had one, or they could be one of the only quote-unquote mean moms or dads that aren't giving their kid a phone, and it just felt really lonely and isolating.
The grassroots movement is now national, and more than 4,300 parents from all 50 states have signed the Wait Until 8th pledge.
It's awesome how you can watch videos on
texting and sharing photos.
And this week there was a screening of the documentary Screenagers about the impact of screen time on young minds at My Children's Elementary School.
All across the country, parents get together along with the children and say, we're going to wait. How effective do you think this movement can be?
I think the more people who can join together and say, we're going to delay this, it's a very powerful device. It's a mini computer with an internet and camera, and they're just not ready to handle the pressures, the anxiety, the depression that comes along with it.
In fact, a new study shows a link. Teenagers thinking about suicide are more likely to be users of social media, and experts say there are some real dangers to smartphones, exposing children to cyberbullying, sexting, and sexual predators.
Kids that are struggling with anxiety, low self-esteem, ADHD are much more likely to use the devices in a way where they get negative feedback. And for those kids, they're really at risk for being bullied, for getting depressed, for their grades to go down.
What do you think life would be like without your smartphone?
I think it would be better in most ways.
Why?
Smartphones are sort of a distraction during school, which leads to bad grades and bad study habits, and then that leads to much worse things.
His parents promised him an iPhone upgrade if he gave that answer.
The kid's got the new iPhone 10.
Though there is one suggestion out there, which is you can give the kids a flip phone. This way you can still get in touch with them, but they don't have access to the internet.
That's one way for your kid to egg his own home as a result. We'll be right back with the mix. And talk about your Throwback Thursday. You know, we talk about Kim Kardashian and how she has a surrogate, she's going to have a daughter and all this sort of stuff. Apparently, surrogacy is nothing new. Scientists and researchers have found the oldest known marriage contract dealing with fertility ever. There it is. You can see it all laid out.
What?
Uh-huh.
Is that hieroglyphics?
Yes, it's something like that. It clearly states that the man here, Lakipum, and his wife, Hatala, if she does not provide a wife with him within 2 years, right there.
Child?
A child in 2 years. On the second line, it says that she will hire him a slave woman to bear children for him.
And
Yeah.
she signed that?
She signed.
Where's her signature?
Right at the bottom.
She did not sign that.
Right at the bottom.
I call it. She did not have an
bottom
attorney
left.
present
This
for this.
is from 4,000 years. She didn't have an attorney. Lawyers are the oldest profession.
All right.
Well,
times have changed, gentlemen. And let me remind you that adultery, by the way, violates most prenups, which brings me
not going to be judged.
to our next story. Lock up your partners, people, because Friday, November 17th, is the most popular day for affairs.
Woo!
That's right. So the site...
Are you not supposed to celebrate that?
The website illicitencounters.com apparently surveyed over 500 adulterers and found that almost 80% have plans in place to see their other extramarital partner, if you will, on Friday. They say the reason this is one of the busiest time of the year for affair is it's the last chance to get away before Christmas break. Because think about it, you got Thanksgiving coming up, you got to spend that with the family. You've got Christmas coming up, you got to spend that with the family. And you have that whole Christmas break where the kids are home and so on. You got to hang out with the family.
Right. I understand that.
Time management.
Exactly.
Time management.
To which I say debunk that theory and go ahead and have your affair today on Thursday.
Candace!
Why were you?
That is not the moral
Why
of the
wait till
story.
Friday? What you can do today.
If I see you anchoring the news with somebody else today or tomorrow.
We move on. Here's Dad of the Year.
Quickly.
This dad, who is in charge of his 3-month-old daughter for the first time, films her just going around there on their robotic vacuum there. Aaron Evans had been left in charge of the 3-month-old for Atlas here. Planned on surprising his wife by cleaning the house.
Multitasking. The kids entertained and the floor's clean. Let's go to another house where the walls are not clean, but Dad just went along for the ride. His kid decided to draw a picture on the wall. Instead of getting upset, he decided to frame it. Now it looks like a work of art.
Cute.
He even put a little label next to it, like in a museum.
That's real. Oh, wow, he did.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Interrupted House 27. This morning on World News Now, new accusers come forward with groping allegations against Senate candidate Roy Moore. But the embattled Republican remains defiant in the wake of growing pressure from top leaders who want him out of the party's race.
President Trump heads to Capitol Hill today to boost momentum for the tax reform bill that House Republicans are expected to pass today. This, as the Senate version faces an uphill battle.
And new this half hour, a thirsty President Trump channels Marco Rubio.
Why you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house or drink water on camera if you live in the White House.
And while the world comes to terms with its newest, sexiest man alive, People has a new list. Sexiest newsmen alive.
Who's on that list?
Well, we'll help them out with some of our own nominations in the Skinny on this Thursday, November 16th.
From ABC News, this is World News Now.
Can't quite get it open.
Feeling
Try a different
little
one.
thirsty?
I'm a little thirsty. Let's
Making
see.
sure to stay hydrated this morning? Oh, that's a lot of water.
No, that
You
won't
sure
work.
you're gonna... No?
All right, here we go.
Oh.
This should work.
Okay. We're
Just
going
in
with
case.
subtle.
You never know. It's too much?
I would love to see you try.
Too soon.
I would love to
Too
see
soon.
you try to drink that on camera.
That's the kind of water that requires 2 hands, not what the president had. That was a workout.
Glad
Of course, with the skill that Rocking Alabama allegates against Moore, the embattled Republican Senate candidate accused of preying on young girls when he was a powerful attorney.
Moore's lawyer attacked the credibility of his only accuser to go before the cameras so far, even as more women came forward. Ivanka Trump, meanwhile, tweeted that she has no reason to doubt the victims, but her father is refusing to address the controversy. ABC's Maggie Rulli has the latest.
President Trump's remaining silent on Roy Moore.
Should Roy Moore resign, Mr. President? Do you believe his accusers?
As fellow Republicans push him to drop out of the Alabama Senate race. Moore's campaign's fighting back hard, denying allegations of sexual impropriety with teenage girls years ago when he was in his 30s. Earlier this week, Beverly Young Nelson went public, claiming Moore assaulted her when she was just 16.
Mr. Moore reached over and began groping me.
Nelson says that's the last contact she had with Roy Moore, but Moore says he's never met her. Yet Moore's attorney says Moore was actually a judge in Nelson's divorce case in 1999.
There was contact. Judge Moore signed an order in that case.
Nelson's divorce attorney says Moore simply signed a document and that the two were never in court together. Moore's lawyer is also asking for a handwriting expert to evaluate the inscription Nelson says Moore wrote in her high school yearbook, "To a sweeter, more beautiful girl. I could not say Merry Christmas. Signed, Love, Roy Moore, DA."
Look at those two sevens, and then look below at the 77. And I want to ask you, do you think it was written by the same person?
And late Wednesday, at least 2 more women coming forward. Tina Johnson confirming to ABC News that Moore groped her in 1991 in his law office. Gina Richardson telling the Washington Post Moore pursued her, calling her at her high school and forcibly kissing her. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
House Republicans are expected to vote today to pass a sweeping reform package that President Trump hopes to sign by Christmas. The president will be on Capitol Hill to meet with GOP lawmakers in the House after tweeting that, quote, tax cuts are getting close. But the Senate's version of the bill appears to be in jeopardy. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin became the first Republican senator to oppose the measure, saying it favors corporations over small businesses. And the last-minute vote to roll the repeal of the Obamacare individual mandate into that bill is triggering even more disagreement.
The mandate has been a pretty ineffective tool. It hasn't prevented premiums from skyrocketing, nor has it kept insurers from leaving markets.
This is not just another garden variety attack on the Affordable Care Act. This is repeal of that law.
Senate Republicans can only afford to lose 2 votes on this. Several GOP senators are still undecided, including Susan Collins and Bob Corker.
Tampa police say they're closing in on that suspected serial killer, releasing new video of a possible suspect linked to 4 murders. They say this video shows a person walking moments before the latest victim was shot and killed early Tuesday morning. It's believed to be the same person spotted near the scene of the first murder last month. A manhunt is underway this morning in Baltimore and around for a suspect who shot a veteran homicide detective in the head. Now, police say the officer was conducting an investigation in the western part of that city when he was hit by gunfire. Doctors say he is critically ill and on full life support. The FBI and others are offering a $62,000 reward for any information leading to the gunman's arrest. And there may be a major breakthrough in detecting the brain disease CTE when a patient is actually still alive. Researchers in Illinois say a brain scan revealed the disease in a living former NFL player 4 years ago. The diagnosis was confirmed after he died. If it holds up, it could be a big step toward finding help for CTE patients and ultimately developing a cure.
Travelers hoping to get a head start on the Thanksgiving holiday could run into some delays both on the road and in the air, thanks to a major storm system moving across the country. Western mountain ranges could see up to 4 feet of snow over the next couple of days, and the wind-driven rain is falling on the west coast from Oregon to Northern California. Those areas near San Francisco ravaged by last month's wildfires will be especially vulnerable to flash flooding and mudslides. The stormy weather will then move eastward, and by Saturday it'll bring lake effect snow to the upper Midwest along with rain and wind to the East Coast.
Okay, now to those photos putting the Treasury Secretary and his wife back in the spotlight.
So Steve Mnuchin has been criticized for his use of government planes, and you might recall the backlash over his wife Louise Linton's social media post. Well, now there's this. Shots of the couple holding a fresh sheet of dollar bills. This is the first batch with Mnuchin's signature on it, and the couple looks pretty pleased with the whole thing.
That look, that is the look of love right there. That's how you want your significant other to look at you. Just how it happens when money's there. The images, by the way, caused a caption contest explosion on Twitter with gems like the Mnuchins choosing wallpaper for the bedroom.
Another asked, why is Louise dressed like Kylo Ren from Star Wars?
She kind of does.
Someone else saw a different resemblance, writing, why do they insist on posing for photos that make them look like Bond villains?
Fierce. We will take over it. And just to hammer home that point, there was this photoshopped scene from Goldfinger.
People really went all out with this. Someone else was saying this is their introduction of their new luxury toilet paper.
Oh, yes. He is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. And some others were joking that that's the first time that they have seen $1 bills in a long time. So,
oh, they still make these?
They still make these? Get out of here. What are these things?
Still, how cool would it be to have your signature on U.S. money?
I'll take anybody's signature if I have the money. Coming up, the Trump payback for Senator Marco Rubio.
After mercilessly teasing Rubio during the campaign about this scene where he was taking swigs of water from a bottle during a speech, well, the tables have now turned for President Trump.
Why two hands? And it's back, the movie that changed the game. But will you be able to sit through all 200 minutes of Titanic in the theater again? It was long. But first, here's a look at today's forecast.
World News Now weather. Brought to you by Active Style.
Some moments here from the president's 12-day trip. It was a trip that just kept giving us many things. Like this 2018 line here from Elizabeth Arden on the runway.
The president walking the red carpet there.
Yes, yes. Really fierce. He's walking like Naomi Campbell down the walkway.
I wonder if he could do the book balance on his head that the models do to practice.
And as the president, by the way, was recapping his journey at the White House yesterday, he got a little cotton mouth and threatened to derail his report.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
There's something to be said about staying thirsty, but this makes it seem like the president has been through a desert in the last 2 weeks. In fact, it was actually Southeast Asia and the president here at the White House touting his trip and pausing for a sip and couldn't find a bottle where it normally is located.
They don't have water. That's okay.
Reporters were forced to finally give him an assist before the sweet relief. For Senator Marco Rubio, it was payback. In 2013, Rubio suffered his own water bottle moment, which got candidate Donald Trump's attention, saying Rubio should have used a glass. And last year, the candidate didn't let anyone forget.
When they put Marco on to refute President Obama's speech, do you remember that catastrophe? It's Rubio.
It was the moment Rubio was waiting for, tweeting, "Similar but needs work on his form. Has to be done in one single motion and eyes should never leave the camera, but not bad for his first time." Luckily for the president, he did it twice, enough for people to criticize his technique.
I'm sorry. What a natural, graceful, effortless way to open a bottle of water. Grasp it with both hands like a baby, take a sip.
Oh, and late night comics had a field day.
I don't always drink water, but when I do, I look super weird.
The subject is bringing jobs back to America. He's drinking a bottle of water from Fiji. It's Fiji water.
Okay, all right, they got that? Okay, they got this.
Others wondered why a man with his own line of water would drink Fiji, while another Twitter user pointed out that some presidents drink water right from the source. Oh, some shade there. So
This will give you a nice little workout.
How do you drink from the Fiji water?
Oh, you're going the glass method.
Yes, but the
how about
pinky
that?
has to be up.
Is that the deal? I think the key is the momentum. You got to get the upswing. Like 1, 2, and...
Very nicely done. The CEO for the Fiji company, by the way, reacted, and he's like, oh, everybody likes drinking from the source, this source.
Yeah, sure. Delightful.
Uh-huh.
All right, when we come back, the growing outrage over the newest, sexiest man alive. I bet he drinks lots of water.
Plus, the sexiest newsman alive, one of them is not back there. The skinny is next. Okay, apparently it is getting worse. This morning, Blakegate. It's a thing. Is widening with more backlash from People Magazine's newest, sexiest man alive. You hear him there, Mr. Blake Shelton.
Many are simply refusing to believe that no other man alive is sexier than the country singer. Check out this assessment. Blake Shelton is at best the sexiest divorced dad at this barbecue.
Oh, true. Yeah. That's probably true. And more write-ins. This tweet showing us 4 men that are sexier than Blake Shelton. Spoiler alert, those are all Jason Momoa.
He is rather beautiful to look at.
But there were also some words of encouragement, like Hugh Jackman tweeting, Blake, take it from me, humble only gets you so far. Milk the sexy status for all it's worth. The rain goes all too quickly. Just ask Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds knows that as well. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Blake's also getting a lot of attention because he seems to have a favorite pose, which he used in the cover shot.
Oh, and inside. The hand thing.
And pretty much every time he takes a photograph.
Is there an itch behind his head?
That's the question. Is there something he's hiding? Like, what's going on with the whole behind the head pose? It seems to be his move.
Yeah. So The Rock's signature move is to pretend as if he's adjusting his cufflinks. That's what
really?
He's given men an excuse in every photo to do.
For me.
No, not at all. But Blake's is more of like.
Maybe he really likes his armpit. Maybe he thinks that's his that's his big feature.
I did not re-up my deodorant today.
All right. Well, we have to move on, though, because that's not the only list causing controversy this morning. People also has a preview list of its sexiest newsmen alive, and we are outraged.
Outraged. The list is kind of weak. So before the list hits newsstands, should we say we're offering our own nominations from here at ABC News?
Absolutely.
Unbiased nominations, starting with the sexiest man at 6:30 p.m. Look at that hair. World News Tonight, David Muir. Always looking good in the field and on the red carpet.
Don't forget, by the way, our own Magic Michael Strahan.
Oh, is it laundry day?
Showing off his moves in Magic Mike and his abs. Come on.
I know where I'm doing my laundry.
How does that not top the list?
And if you're into the athletic type, how about our Miami bureau correspondent, Victor Akendo?
Oh, hey, Victor.
Yeah, he's ready for that triathlon.
He's even got a ribbon. Give the man a prize, will ya?
Yep.
And
oh, yeah.
Can't ever forget about our foreign correspondent, James Longman. He is just an Instagram treasure trove. People, this is just one example of many of why James Longman should definitely top this list.
The keywords being treasure trove.
But if you really want sexy, how about our very own Blake Shelton of Newsmen, Candace Gibson. You didn't know that one was coming.
I thought I'd actually put that photo out.
The wig and the wings really had a nice touch.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it, can you?
Are you wearing a diaper?
It is a cloth diaper. It was like 30 degrees out at the time.
Come on, people. People
yes.
Magazine.
Come on.
This is gold.
Yeah. All right, maybe next year. Next to the other big headline this morning for fans of Titanic.
So the movie's marking its 20th anniversary by re-releasing a fully remastered version across the country starting December 1st.
And it'll be shown at 87 AMC theaters with 20 of those showings in 3D. In fact, director James Cameron says the new technology is even beyond typical 3D and that, quote, Titanic has never looked better.
So now we can really enjoy watching Rose be selfish and hog that piece of driftwood all to herself. Sorry, Jack, I'll never let go till your hand gets too cold.
And then you're just, like, annoying me. Bye, Jack. Or the classic scene where she wants to be drawn up like a French girl.
Oh, yeah, that was a perfect depiction of that one. Good job, Jack. Way to go.
No wonder she ditched him.
All right, finally. If you're looking for a fabulous vacation home for next summer, now is your chance.
Yeah, so the owners of the Chilmark House at Martha's Vineyard, where President Obama and his family stayed back in 2013, have dropped the price. It is down to just $18 million.
Ooh, this sprawling 7,000-foot modern home, 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, a gym, half basketball court, an infinity pool, sits on nearly 10 acres, panoramic views of the Atlantic Ocean.
The house has been for sale for 2 years, originally listed at $22 million. Now it's priced to move, so act fast.
All right, I've got $100. Anyone else?
100. I got like $2. The biography at the top on the same day, one of his paintings sells for like a lot of money.
$450 million.
A little bit. So finally this half hour, the story of a girl who grew up thinking she's an only child, finding out nearly a lifetime later that there's much more to her family history.
And it's all because she and the nephew she never met mailed a saliva sample to a popular website. ABC's David Muir has the story.
Sylvia Cure was adopted when she was just a toddler, growing up in Emporia, Virginia, raised by a school teacher and a farmer. She always thought she was an only child. But just a few months back, now 66, she got a phone call. After what she had done with her daughter, they both submitted a DNA test on Ancestry.com. Their test results revealed a, quote, extremely high match to someone else, Sylvia's biological nephew, who revealed to her his father is Sylvia's brother. In fact, she has 3 brothers and a sister, and they all met this past weekend.
She's taller than you.
First, her older sister Nancy.
It's so nice to see you, sister.
Then Sylvia's older brother Ralph, and her younger brother Billy.
I don't have any words.
All of them speechless. They pored over a family album.
That was me?
Many of her siblings thought she had died years ago. Sylvia telling us this Thanksgiving will be very different.
I'm ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I have a lot to be thankful for. And I've never been this happy in my life.
And what a gift, she says, worth waiting for.
Ask God for a small miracle. I got a big one.
David Muir, ABC News, New York.
Can you imagine what that gathering was going to be?